Hello everyone, Jul here. Previously, I've talked about the best turn-based JRPGs that deserve a perfect 10 out of 10 score, and I think it's time for us to venture a little bit more to the new area of this genre. Speaking of new area, of course, we will be discussing about games that are forgotten by most of our communities, which will be the perfect time for us to reintroduce these masterpieces and hopefully sparks the genre in the modern community. That being said, I'm totally aware that this video is still not enough to showcase all of these forgotten masterpieces in one video, so if your favorites are not here, then it's either on my previous videos or on the next episode of the series. But before we go into the list, I want to introduce you to the best platform for buying games in this modern era, and it's called Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is the perfect place for you to shop in games these days. Your transactions are legit, fast, and their supports are ready 24/7, so you don't need to worry about anything. Do you think I was done? Not even close. They have lots of games for your favorite platforms, and they have the best deals as well. Instead of cutting your budget for dinner to buy new games, why not try Instant Gaming and eat healthy as well? All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platforms. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Paladin's quest might not be for everyone. It has rough edges, a slow start, and an odd sense of pacing. But for players who enjoy exploring something truly different, it offers a rewarding and memorable experience. One major thing to know is that the game doesn't hold your hand. There are no modern quest markers or automatic hints. You often have to explore, talk to NPCs, and figure things out on your own. That can feel frustrating, but it also makes the world feel more alive. You also don't use magic in the usual way. Spells are based on combining different elemental spirits, and you unlock them by improving your connection to each element. It feels unusual at first, but once you understand it, the system becomes flexible and rewarding. Metal Saga is a different kind of RPG. Instead of giving you a strict story and pushing you down one path, it opens the door and simply lets you wreak havoc. There's no main quest pushing you forward. Instead, you can explore towns, talk to people, buy tanks, fight giant mechs, or just wander around the desert looking for hidden bosses. You decide how you want to play, when to progress, and where to go next. You might stumble upon a secret dungeon, a powerful bounty target, or a funny side event that makes no sense. The game is also filled with humor. Whether it's a robot dog companion that talks like an old-school soldier, or a boss fight against a giant walking toaster, Metal Saga never takes itself too seriously. Ephemeral Fantasia is one of those games that tried something bold in the JRPG genre. Set on a colorful island during a royal wedding celebration, you're stuck in a 5-day time loop, and the only way to break it is to uncover the secrets hidden within those repeating days. The most interesting part of the game is how it handles time. Each character in the world has a routine, doing the same thing every day unless you interfere. You have to visit people at the right time, be in certain places when key events happen, and slowly gather allies by changing their fates. It feels like solving a big living puzzle. While some of it can be confusing or slow, it also creates a strong sense of immersion, like you're really part of this world. Revelations is where it all began for the Persona series, a game that feels very different from the modern titles, but still carries the heart of what would later make the series great. What makes this game different from many RPGs of its time is the mix of modern setting and psychological themes. Instead of knights or mages, your party wears school uniforms and uses firearms, baseball bats, or magic granted by their personas. You explore dungeons in a first-person view, talk to demons during battle, and make choices that affect which ending you get. Graphically, the game might look dated now, but its eerie atmosphere and dark music still create a strong mood for dark fantasy lovers. Mana Khemia is a turn-based RPG with a school setting, but instead of training to fight, your focus is on alchemy, gathering materials, learning recipes, and crafting powerful items. The story isn't dramatic in a traditional sense, but that's part of its charm. Most of the game revolves around school terms, where you take classes, complete assignments, and interact with your classmates. That being said, the alchemy system is the heart of the game. You'll explore dungeons to gather ingredients, then return to your workshop to synthesize items. Each recipe has different options and effects based on what you use. It's so satisfying to see a powerful weapon or accessory come to life from the materials you found, especially when it changes how your characters fight. Okage is one of those games that feels like it came out of nowhere, full of strange humor, a unique art style, and a story that plays with both lighthearted fantasy and quiet emotion. The game follows Ari and Stan as they travel across a bizarre world, trying to defeat fake evil kings and prove Stan's true status. What really makes Okage special is how personal it feels. Ari isn't a typical hero, he's quiet, often overlooked, and constantly pushed around, but through this journey, he slowly learns how to speak up, take control, and find value in himself. The soundtrack also deserves credit. It's not filled with bombastic RPG music, instead it leans into quirky, offbeat tunes that fit the game's odd sense of humor and quiet moments. Dragon Quest VII is a long, slow-burning RPG about discovery. It doesn't start with a war, a villain, or a kingdom in danger. Instead, you begin as a curious boy on a peaceful island where nothing ever seems to happen. Each arc is like a self-contained story, with its own tone, characters, and lessons. The cast is small but memorable. Each party member joins with their own story and reason for fighting, and they develop more naturally through the many chapters. Unlike some RPGs where characters change dramatically, Dragon Quest VII keeps it grounded. The soundtrack is also classic Dragon Quest, bright themes for the overworld, emotional melodies for serious scenes, and cheerful victory tunes after battle. Melody of Elemia is a very unique JRPG that most people probably forgot its existence. Instead of focusing only on battles or world-ending disasters, the game dives into the connection between people and how music, emotion, and understanding can shape the world. What makes Tonelico stand out is its unique use of music and emotions as a core part of gameplay and story. Your characters don't just fight, some of them are able to sing special songs, which are like magic powered by their feelings. The more you understand and support them, the more powerful and expressive their songs become. You can also enter their minds and explore their inner thoughts, struggles, and memories. It's a mix of dreamlike storytelling and character building that lets you bond with them on a deeper level. Tsugunai Atonement is a lesser-known RPG that tells a very personal story, one centered not around saving the world but making up for past mistakes. It begins with a warrior named Rise who is cursed after stealing a sacred artifact. His soul is separated from his body, and the only way to break the curse is to help others. Each character's story is like a short chapter, often emotional and sometimes tragic. The game's pace is slow and thoughtful. It doesn't rush to big events. Instead, it takes time with each story and lets the quiet moments settle. There's also a lot of talking and exploring small areas, like villages, forests, or shrines. The visuals are modest but have charm, with soft lighting and calm environments that support the emotional tone. As the sixth installment in the series, Eternal Mana shifts the focus from the crafting-centric gameplay of its predecessors to a more traditional JRPG structure, blending a whimsical narrative, a robust alchemy system, and a cast of endearing characters. The game's world feels cozy and full of life. You will explore towns, forests, caves, and ruins, while meeting all kinds of interesting people along the way. The story isn't dark or heavy, but more like a fantasy fairy tale. Alchemy is the heart of the game. You collect ingredients from the environment and use them to craft healing items, weapons, tools, and many more. It's simple to learn, but there's a lot to discover, and experimenting with recipes feels rewarding. The art style also has personality and warm atmosphere that fits the story's tone, which makes the game feels like a cheerful magical storybook comes to life. Panzer Dragoon Saga is one of the most unique RPGs ever made. Set in a bleak post-apocalyptic world filled with ancient machines and forgotten powers, it tells the story of Edge, a young soldier who forms a bond with a mysterious dragon. Unlike most RPGs of its time, Saga isn't focused on large parties or towns full of people. Instead, it's a quiet and focused adventure that blends cinematic storytelling with a mix of dragon riding exploration and real-time turn-based combat. Visually, the game pushed the Sega Saturn to its limit. While the graphics are blocky by today's standards, the design of the world, the dragons, and the enemies still feel creative and haunting. Anachronox is one of those rare games that mixes science fiction, mystery, and comedy into a rich RPG experience that still feels fresh even today. The world of Anachronox is a strange blend of futuristic technology and gritty noir atmosphere. There's a sense of broken beauty in every corner, flickering lights, rusted signs, and forgotten secrets waiting to be uncovered. But while the setting feels dark and worn, the tone of the game is anything but depressing. It's full of sharp wit, clever dialogue, and moments that are genuinely funny without ever breaking the world's sense of reality. Exploration also plays a big role. You'll walk around large areas, talk to all kinds of NPCs, solve light puzzles, and take on side quests that often feel more like slice-of-life stories than typical RPG tasks. Romancing Saga Minstrel's song isn't a game for everyone. It can feel overwhelming at first, and it expects players to explore and experiment without much guidance. But for those willing to dive in, it offers a deep, rewarding experience full of discovery and strategy. This isn't your usual RPG where you follow a straight story from point A to B. Instead, you're thrown into a wide open world with 8 different main characters to choose from, each with their own personal journey. Once you pick one, you're free to explore, take on quests in any order, and build your party however you like. One of the most interesting parts of the game is how the world reacts to your action. As time passes and you complete more events, the world state changes. Like more powerful enemies appear, new quests open up, and you might miss out on certain opportunities if you wait too long. MS Saga may look like a game just for Gundam fans, but it offers much more than just fan service. This PS2 RPG builds its own original story in a world shaped by the ruins of war and forgotten technology. You don't play as famous characters from the anime. Instead, you follow a young boy named Tristan, who sets off on a journey after tragedy strikes his hometown. The heart of the game lies in its combat and customization. You build your own mobile suits using parts collected from battles, shops, or quests. Each piece changes not just the look, but also the stats and abilities of your unit. It's a system that's easy to understand but deep enough to keep you experimenting throughout the game. You can mix and match across different Gundam series, which makes battles feel exciting and personal. Dual Orb II is one of those RPGs that many people miss when it first came out. Released only in Japan for the Super Famicom, it gained more attention years later thanks to fan translations. What really sets this game apart is its pacing. The story moves quickly and the world keeps expanding, and new characters join often enough to keep things fresh. There's a good mix of dramatic scenes and lighter moments, giving the game a balanced tone. And just when you think you know where things are going, the story throws in a twist or two that gives the journey more weight. The soundtrack is also a pleasant surprise, delivering catchy tunes for towns, emotional melodies for story scenes, and intense tracks during major battles. Phantasy Star 4 is one of the greatest RPGs of the 16-bit era. Released for the Sega Genesis, it brings together everything that made classic RPGs special and wraps it all in a sharp sci-fi setting that still feels unique even today. The game takes place in the Algos star system, a universe where ancient technology and forgotten civilizations mix with futuristic space travel. You play as Chas Ashley and his mentor Alice. What begins as a simple mission soon turns into a fight for survival as dark forces begin to awaken across the galaxy. Each new area you explore, whether it's a high-tech ruin, desert town, or a monster-filled cave, has its own visual identity. The world design is linear but focused. There's no overworld bloat here, just a well-paced adventure that knows when to give you story and when to let you play. Albert Odyssey isn't the kind of RPG that breaks the mold, but it knows exactly what it wants to be. A cheerful, story-driven adventure with beautiful music, likable characters, and classic gameplay. Combat is straightforward. It uses a classic turn-based system with random encounters and simple commands. You'll level up, learn new spells, and use special skills, but it never overwhelms you with complicated mechanics. What stands out most is the game's presentation. The 2D sprite work is colorful and expressive, with fluid animations and detailed backgrounds that make each town, dungeon, and battlefield feel inviting. The characters are also full of personality, and the world has a light fantasy tone that feels welcoming rather than dark or heavy. Earthbound isn't your typical RPG game. While most games in the genre are about swords and magic, this game takes place in a version of modern America, complete with ATMs, pizza delivery, shopping malls, and kids who fight aliens with baseball bats. Earthbound presented a contemporary setting, ordinary kids and absurd enemies wrapped in simple mechanics and cartoon-like graphics. It might look simple at first, but that's part of its charm. The music is also unforgettable, full of weird catchy tunes that mix rock, jazz, and ambient sounds into something completely unique. Beneath all the jokes and weirdness, the game ends with one of the most emotional and thoughtful finales in any RPG, and when it's over, it doesn't feel like just a game, it feels like an experience. Shadow Hearts from the New World is the third game in the Shadow Hearts series, and while it tells a new story with new characters, it still keeps that same mix of horror and RPG elements. This time, instead of traveling across Europe or Asia, the game takes you on a road trip through a twisted version of 1920s America, filled with ancient spirits, oddball characters, and supernatural threats. The story leans more toward adventure and comedy than the darker tone of the earlier games, but it still has emotional moments and a few creepy surprises. Combat is turn-based and still built around the series' signature Judgment Ring system. Each character also has their own ability system. Shania, for example, fuses with spirits to gain powerful forms, while others evolve through side quests or collected items. Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey doesn't hold your hand and it doesn't try to please everyone. It's slow, methodical, and full of weight. But for players who enjoy meaningful choices, deep mechanics, and a memorable story, it's a powerful and memorable experience. The gameplay sticks to the series' classic roots. First-person dungeon crawling, turn-based battles, and a huge roster of demons you can fight, talk to, or recruit. That being said, what really sets this game apart is how it treats your choices. The law, chaos, and neutral paths all reflect your values. Whether you choose peace through control, freedom through destruction, or a painful middle road with no easy answers, your path will decide which allies stay, who turns against you, and what kind of world you'll leave behind. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other forgotten turn-based games that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best forgotten turn-based JRPGs that probably deserve the spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!